but when I saw I could win here, I thought I might detonate the barrel. And it worked.
Battle control initialized.
Hello there, comrades and cannon fodder. It's Dvoid here. I've got a 1v1 replay here for you. I'm on Woodlands map, and in a recent post I featured this map, and I think I said that I'd not used it before. And that's not right. I have used it before a couple of times, and I've even posted with it before. So if anyone noticed that, well, yeah, I'd just kind of forgotten. But I'm on Woodlands map now. I'm using Russia. My opponent's using Ukraine. I'm sending 3 rifles straight out. Let's have a look. What's my opponent up to? He's got a rifleman. I'm guessing that's an engineer. Yeah, so he's got his engineer as soon as possible, but with a 1 rifleman to escort it, just to be on the safe side. If you build the engineer first, a rifleman can catch up pretty quickly, but there's probably not much difference in doing that. But I was hunting for engineers here, and I bumped into those guys, but I didn't expect him to be there straight away. I thought he might go for that one, but when I saw I could win here, I thought I might detonate the barrel, and it worked. I was too late, but at least it worked. I didn't realise, because I didn't see that. You see, that's my opponent's view range. From my point of view, I can't see that. I just saw what my rifleman saw here, but that was a lovely shot. Just a few moments too late, but at least it stops him capturing this one. But he has trained a second one, so it's cost him that at least. My engineer's on his way to the second oil derrick now. My opponent took the forward one first. Naturally, I went for this one without thinking about it too much, just because it's slightly closer. It looks about the same distance, to be fair, but it's on the safer side. So the engineer can be protected by a couple of rifles, and then the main bunch of rifles can group together here before he arrives. That's the way I see it, but there's probably not much difference in which order you take them, depending on where you put your barracks. If it's closer to one, then go for that one. He's shooting the barrels. I did hear that. Placing some rifle guards here and there. In a recent post, I had, I think it was here, in fact, and I had a rifleman stood there. No, it was about here or something, about there, and my opponent had an engineer stood there, and he moved down the side of the map and this way slightly, but stopped, and his view range was like there, and my rifleman was like there, and he ended up later in the game capturing my war factory. Now, I won that battle, thankfully. It was a really good game as well, but he was stood right next to a rifle scout because I didn't have it covered properly. And there you go, there's his engineer's making a sneak there. I wasn't expecting this, but he's going in through the front door, isn't he? Kind of, you know. He's not messing about, this guy. But I'm gonna have plenty of rifle guards. It's not gonna catch me unprepared. I was surprised to see it, but I was still prepared. Put it that way. And I thought I'd move forward with my APC and my initial group of units. I've only got 3 rockets with that starting group. I should have at least 4. No, I haven't even trained the 4th. Here we go. There's the 4th rocket soldier. He should be with these guys. Just 4 is more effective against all trucks and things. 3 is not so good. As soon as the game goes on a few minutes, a group this small is no longer effective. So if you're using a group with only a few rockets, use it early. But I thought I'd at least use it to capture this oil derrick. And I thought I'd keep away so my opponent couldn't see exactly what I had. Now, he's got units moving forward here, my scouts, and I heard the flak trucks. But I'm clearing him out here, look, with these few rifles, and he can't see anything else. So his response should be weak. Let's see, and this is what's actually here, look. A very different picture, you know. You have to use your sense to figure out what's there, and a good player will have something waiting for you. But my opponent doesn't know. Now I've captured that. My opponent here, he's got a flak truck. He's sent one back, and he's using the flak truck for view range for his troops. They are nippy. And he knows I'm here, because I've just shot a rifle. Now let's have a look at these initial army values. I'm at 10,000, my opponent's at 8,000. But he looks like he's got a decent attack force here. And I was, you know, I had a few units here for him ready. I've taken out his only vehicle. That'll help. Now my units are idle. And I had to gather everything. These guys had just been sent south. So I had to turn back immediately, get my tanks into a screening position and try and save the ore trucks. Look, now he's taken this one. But I've swept that group up and his army value is even weaker after that. It was a nice try. Let's see what I'm left. We're at 5 ore trucks each. And I'm about to launch a small attack. I did congratulate him on his attack because it did catch me completely by surprise. But this force is doing... Yeah, and he can see what's there, so that's not good. I've got my APC into a screening position, but he's got too much of a strong force there for me. I don't even think there's anything left. Nope. And I brought all this with me. A refinery, my engineer's got to run away. But I placed a base defence. The engineer's getting out of there. He shouldn't suspect it, but I'm bringing in what units I can. There's my primary, so I'm producing units at my base. Because I know it's vulnerable now. But my opponent's seen that. So let's have a look at army values now. Yes, that's not good enough. Now he's moved into the right position. That's perfect. And he's even attacking in the right way. But his army strength isn't enough. No way near. In fact, it was less than after I attacked for somehow. But he's got my ore truck. Nice attack. And I've left the barracks there. So I can produce infantry, and I'm moving the MCV forward so it's useful in the battle. I didn't know the battle was over. Oh, he's sold up. Now he's got a 2,500 army value, I've got 15,000, so, you know, it was decided before he even set up here. But it was a nice... Oh, and he's capturing that back. That's a nice little move. I didn't notice that. Nicely done. Making late game use of engineer. Not late game, but later in the game. My engineer's moving forward to capture it again, and I am sending units to clear it to make sure there's no units protecting it, so they've killed the engineer. See if the game goes on enough for me to capture it back. And there was no eco-transfer. My opponent built a couple of refineries at the expansion. He is transferring ore trucks now. My tanks, look, are being given orders. Keep them in a perfect screening position, look. Like a shell around your units. And when you're in an enemy base, they have to be around your units, because the enemy can set up base defences behind you and stuff if you move into their base. But I knew I had overwhelming strength. My engineer, for some reason, is moving away. Now, I must have had some dodgy shift command where I messed it up. And my opponent asked for a rematch. So I'll just quickly go through the graphs and stats. Look, that was quite even. In fact, he was ahead at one point. I didn't actually notice that. That's nice, until the combat started. But here's the earnings graph. That's even, look. Very nice. My finishing army, I think that's about 6 by the looks of that number. Yeah, I think so. My engineer's still okay. And a little over 50 infantry. Combat chart, I killed 100 units, my opponent killed 81. I lost 3 structures, my opponent lost 6, so I've got a 16,000 army value. I destroyed 21,000 of my enemy assets, my opponent destroyed 16,000 of my assets, so it was closer battle than I thought, actually. No support powers in effect. My production, I'm building my second war factory at the moment. Heavy tanks, rifleman, flame tower, standard stuff. Here's the economy tab. I've still got 6 ore trucks, my 2 oil derricks. I earned 51,000, my opponent earned 49, so we were actually equal. There wasn't enough time for my better expansion to actually yield much extra money. My opponent kept up in terms of economy. Right, basics. I'm at 29 actions per minute. My opponent's at 32, about the same. Right, now my opponent asked for a rematch, so I'll go to the rematch for you.
Battle control terminated. Battle control
And the map this
initialized.
time is Timian. I'm using Russia. My opponent's using Germany for this one. Yeah, my first action is to send rifles to intercept my opponent's engineer. He's produced an engineer straight away. He's sent it to the oil derrick, but he has got some units escorting it closely. Now, I've got my engineer here, and I'm protecting it from one side only. These guys went this way, so hopefully, you know, no one would have had time to go all that way. And this guy's lazy. Now he's moving, look. I've secured my oil derrick. He's moved there because I've noticed I've lagged behind. And now my opponent's here, and I've left this guy here, so this is not looking good. I'm capturing my oil derrick, though. Yeah, he's moving away. This might actually be perfect because the engineer's going for him. Yeah, looks like it might be okay. Yeah, I've caught him. So my opponent's got one oil derrick, and I've cut off his second. That's what I did in the last game as well. I managed to cut off his second. He produced another engineer straight away. There's no infantry being produced at the moment. And he's attacking the oil derrick. Not while you're that close, you might lose a soldier. No, he's alright. He's killed my other rifleman over there, but that's not important. He's actually left a couple of rifles guarding that. I thought, yeah, fair enough. Right, let's look at the army values. 3,000 each. I've just reached 4. I've left a force of about 11 rifles guarding this oil derrick, and I'm regrouping the rest of my forces, grouping them together over here. Now, I've got my APC. What's my opponent doing about a scout vehicle? Something's about to roll out. Looks like a ranger by the speed. No, a light tank. Poor guess. But that's what I would have chosen, and we've got some units engaging here. Here we go, he's attacking my oil derrick. And I've got the view range advantage to shoot his units, but I don't want to move forward. Yeah, I lost a soldier there. And there was 3 rockets. I thought there was only 2. That's a shame. I lost the APC straight away, and I thought I'd try and use it for an gain an advantage and win that engagement. But he's got his units away very nicely. He's assumed correctly that I'm on my way, because if I've got my vehicle there, it's going to be screening units. So he's guessed right. Now, I thought I'd spread out my rifles and make sure that, because he attacked last time with those flat trucks, so it was sort of an early attack force, and he attacked the side of my base, so I was kind of expecting it this time. That's why I'm sending rifles all over, look. Now, this time, these light tanks have arrived way ahead of these soldiers. These infantry. Now, the light tanks have caught an ore truck. They're shooting it. Let's see how long it takes. Now, I've got my MCV, but I'm wary of moving it out because I don't know how many other light tanks he's got. So, these guys that were going to defend my base, they're going to have to protect the MCV. There you go, I've got rid of the light tanks, that was easy enough, but I was thinking this force here is vulnerable. I should move them back, but I didn't want to just retreat and then do nothing. So I left them in place to buy time for other guys to move in. Now the tank's a useful screening unit, and I've got base defences because I've got build radius. My MCV's protected, and there you go, there's the flame tower. Now there's not enough of them to destroy it quick enough. There you go, I've got my units in place, that's it, they're all dead. So yeah, there's a couple of distraction assets, flame tower and those few units of infantry, you know, it slowed them down enough, because he may have destroyed my service depot, you never know. If I hadn't have slowed him down, he might have traded, you know, just sacrificed that force to kill them. You never know. And move them on top of it, so that when I shoot his units, I'm destroying my own service depot. But I'm expanding forward, and I'm at 11,000, my opponent's at 5,300, so he's lost a lot from that attack again, and he's gained nothing. He got 14 kills, he gained nothing from that attack, so he needs to use a larger force and have tanks screening it rather than light tanks that arrive half an hour early, or flat trucks. He's got the right idea, definitely. I think I can see it, that he's actually, you know, he caught me by surprise with that attack in the first game. I can see him actually being an okay player. Look, the economy was matched. 7 ore trucks, look, he's here, so I'm assuming he's going to move an MCV. So all the elements are there. He just needs to get the, you know, a bit more game sense on how to attack and that, rather than just sending stuff in blind and revealing it on the way, having units arriving at different times, and it's no way near enough strength in 2 flat trucks or 2 light tanks, no way near enough strength. Who doesn't defend their home base at, you know, minute 5 or whatever it was? You know, so it's just a couple of things, and then there might be a good player with a bit of practice here, you never know. But I'm assuming there's no way near enough to stop me. 6,000 to 19. And it didn't reach 7,000. These ore trucks have been moved to safety, that's good. Very quick. I didn't actually notice what happened there. If they were already idle, fair enough, but they're being moved, look. And the base defences, I was keeping my tanks positioned, like, in detail, so that they're between the base defences and my troops, look. You see the tanks are soaking up all those bullets. And I'm trying to bring more in. Now, I've lost all those tanks there, but they have kept all those troops alive till now, and I actually outnumber those troops there. But I'm not pressing the attack move, because I want these 2 tanks, look. You see, I've ordered them to move, so they're not getting shot at by these guys on the way, but they're going to move so that they then screen these units. And this tank is actually is deciding now I'm going to screen these units with it. So now both my forces on either side of the enemy have got screening units now. And rather than just sending my tanks straight to them and get shot at by the enemy units on their way, move them around and out of the enemy range when they move like that. And you have to you see, you need your tanks like this. It's like, you know, carefully done. Now he's still producing units, that's, you know, it's good, he's not done. He's got this lot up here and he could produce a lot of cash out of that. And there's not a lot to spend it on, so he could build up cash quickly. I don't know if he's got 2 MCVs, he could have. And he could have already expanded here, in which case he may have a barracks or a war factory or something. Obviously, you know, that's not the case, but I don't know. And I split my force. This wasn't quite enough to deal with it, but I got the job done in the end. The tank screened enough to keep these guys alive. It was an inadequate force, but it did the job. And it's still doing the job. And now they're going to destroy all troops. Cool. I had to bring the tanks in quickly because I need tanks. Got to be up front. And these guys are a nice little anti-tank group, anti-harvester group. You see all the bullets just bouncing off the tank. And now the base defense is shooting it because it's the closest. That's it. You have to tell. It looked like he changed target, but you have to tell your base defenses to attack the infantry. Because look, all those bullets are just being wasted on the tank. My troops can attack freely. And the thing is, he hasn't got any choice in this situation there. He's actually ordering his troops to attack this infantry. Now that's his only choice. But it's ineffective. You can't fight that way. but that was his only option in that situation. Now he's called it, but I've just got the engineer moving in to capture, and the first thief went in. That was my first infiltration. I've got another thief. There you go for another infiltration. My opponent's still actually got cash because he had an alright bit. Well, I've captured the construction yard and it's done. My opponent's gone. So I'm just clearing up what's left here. But I'm still actually got his corpse in the chokehold, basically. So I'll just go through the graphs and charts. But he did it. We were equal. In fact, it looks like he was actually ahead at some points in the early game. It's interesting. But after combat started, that was it. My army size grew too much. But there's the earnings again. They're looking pretty equal. I'm still infiltrating. Look, it's over now. I can tell there's no more cash to be squeezed. But look, the earnings and the earnings graph, they look quite equal again until until minute 7. So that's interesting. It's a good sign. And my army, I've got 12 heavy tanks, a thief, flamethrower. How many engineers? 3. 23 rocket soldiers, 71, 72 rifles now. It's not quite over, so we're still counting. But I got 168 kills. My opponent got 119. I've got a 31,000 army value left now. I destroyed 54,000 of my enemy's assets. My opponent destroyed 20,000 of my assets. No support powers. In fact, I have now. Look, I've just built a plane. Just enough time. The game's over now, although I am infiltrating still. I'll still send some thieves in. But yeah, the game's over now. But just in time, I've actually started to count down on my paratroopers and spy plane. And I've just built a Yak attack plane. So yeah, I didn't know the game had gone on that long. I'm placing it, not thinking. But there you go. And that's because I'm playing right up to the end. I'm still moving forward and placing. Look, I've got another war factory, and this guy's forward protecting this, and I've got a barracks protecting it, and I've now captured that. So it's still playing as if I mean to go on. It's just my style of play. I keep going and try, just to finish a game. Don't want to lose a game I should have won. But there's my production, tech centre. Rocket soldiers, heavy tanks, Yak attack planes. So it's interesting. I was actually building a tech centre. I was obviously felt able to. I've got 8 ore trucks. I've spent 91. My opponent spent 62. I earned a lot more in that game cash-wise. Basics. I'm at 29 actions per minute. My opponent's at 24. So there's the graphs and charts. That's a couple of games I've had tonight. So I hope you like what you saw. If you enjoyed the games, give us a sub and a like. And as always, take good care of yourselves. And until next time, goodbye.
Battle control terminated.